Welcome to the straight up, no bullshit, the Don Handston Show. Our hosts are going to push the limits, but create an environment where it's safe to uncover the crap that holds you back so you can survive the mediocrity of today's life. And they'll be admitting and revealing their own experiences so you can learn the skills and attitude you need to be who you are. No bullshit. Warning to all listeners: if you have thin skin and get offended easily by harsh, direct, or somewhat offensive content and language, then this podcast may be overwhelming. However, we believe pulling your blinders off and viewing things from a real perspective may feel invigorating and may be the very thing that may cause you to expand your capabilities exponentially. Now here's your hosts, Don and Markus.
Hey everybody, welcome to Straight Up No Bullshit. We are excited you're here. Today we are diving deep into the importance of authenticity, being your true self and practicing full transparency in all aspects of your life. Don, welcome to the show, my friend.
Hey Markus, how are you today?
I'm doing great, How about yourself?
Awesome.
Excellent. You being your authentic self?
Every day. And I find the funny part about it is more people don't like me, and those are the people I don't want around me.
There you
go.
go.
People that like me, love me. The people that don't, they don't even exist in my life anymore. Put them in the rearview mirror and take the rearview mirror and throw it out the window.
See ya.
Yep. Don't even think about those people again.
Exactly. You know, it's funny. We Don and I were just talking about, what we wanted to discuss today. We have a whole list of different topics we're going to be sharing with everybody. But we had an interesting event last night. We have a group called Enlightened Entrepreneurs, and part of it, we were kind of tagging along the whole independence thing, being 4th of July, last month, and just talking about what does freedom mean, what does independence mean, and what was interesting was that the crux of it was being your authentic self. And it kind of felt like some people were truly being their authentic self. Some people were actually kind of resisting being authentic, or, so what are your thoughts on that?
So what was interesting was, we all had to say whatever we thought that made us free and free from the system, liberating, being able to do what we want to do, be happy, whatever. And what I had mentioned was, you got to be yourself, okay? Whether or not it's what other people are going to agree with, okay? It doesn't matter, okay? And I say you got to be yourself, and you got to tell it like you see it, and let the cards fall where they may. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna attract the correct people, and you're gonna repel the wrong people, okay? And basically that's the gist of what I had to say. But rather than the next person coming up with something that made him free or liberated or whatever the hell words you want to use,
right?
Instead of coming up with their thoughts, the whole thought process was trying to invalidate what I said. Well, you don't have to agree with me. I just said, I think we need to care less about what other people think and quit trying to please everybody else, because we're here on this earth to please ourselves. And I'm not saying be self-serving, but I'm saying being very transparent with your thoughts. So
be true to yourself.
Yeah. Be your true self, and don't be one way for one person and one way for another person and wonder why you got all these problems. Okay. You got problems because you're not being you, and you're keeping all this shit inside, and it's all like, I can't take it. I'm around these people and I'm stressed out, and I got to say something that's not going to offend them, and I got to do what they say so I don't offend them. And there's alternate ways of thinking, whether or not everyone agrees with it, which most people won't. No two people think the same, okay? So quit trying to make everyone happy, because you're going to make no one happy, especially yourself. And if you're not happy, what's the point in living?
Agreed. And, part of being your true authentic self is you really develop true, genuine connections with people. It's not superficial, and so many people have these facades on, and it's like, it's exhausting.
Right. How much more smoke can possibly go up your ass, right? I got more smoke up there. I got bloated from all the smoke. So guess what? No one's blowing smoke up my ass, because those kinds of people stay away from me. Because they're like, well, Don's going to tell like it is. He's going to tell like it sees it. And if we don't agree, people think that we all have to agree on shit. It doesn't matter. Me and you are very tight, yet me and you don't agree on everything. we agree on some of the ideas, but really what we're trying to do is inspire thought, right? So I might say something that you don't agree with, but it gets you thinking at a little different perspective, right? Like seeing things through my glasses, like, oh yeah, you know what? Let me try your glasses on and see what you see and how you see it. Right. And you're like, oh, I still don't agree with it, but it makes sense to me why you think that, right?
Right. Well, then, and it was interesting because, they went on the topic of, I can't say what I truly believe because, this person, I lean more right, and this, all these people in my business are left, and if I offend them, I'm going to lose business and all this stuff. And it's like, then maybe that's not the business you should be in.
Well, I don't understand why everything has to be put in a political reference. Like, who gives a shit? Okay. Who cares? Like right, left. You know what I like? Logic and non-logic. Okay. That doesn't make any fucking sense to me. And that's fine. If it makes sense to you, which it probably doesn't, because these people are just watching TV and they're all out of their minds. But if it makes sense to them, great. Do I need to argue that it doesn't make sense to me? No, I don't give a shit. Go on your merry way. Please stay out of my life, and I'll stay out of your life. You know what I mean? What's logical to me is not logical to them. Yep. Because I touch something that's cold and I say, wow, that's cold. And they say, I don't agree with that. Okay. Or, if they touch something that's cold and say, well, it's hot. Well, I don't agree with that either. So who cares? You know what? Who cares?
Right.
And today people are trained to not be themselves. People are trained to follow the directive of what they think other people want to hear. Okay. And they're not going to make anyone happy, and they're not going to make themselves happy. So the people that like you are not people that you want to like you. And you're not going to like yourself for like being a soy boy, sort of say, oh yeah, I'll go along with that bullshit just so you like me. Guess what? I don't want you to fucking like me. Go away. How about that one? And then people get mad at you. Oh, Don is, he's so aggressive. Maybe I'm aggressive. I don't care, but that's me.
Right.
And
love me or hate me. I am exactly. That's why I say, love me or hate me. It is, you get what you get,
Right. And you know what? Whether or not you agree with me, I don't care. But like so many people are not liberated enough to just say what they feel. And I'm not saying go walk around like a 90-year-old man that has no filter to roll down the sewer to go out and insult everybody. Right. Stay away from those people. If you don't agree with what they're doing, stay away from them. It is what it is.
Well, I think a lot of it is the fact that society has divided us. I mean, you said, why is everyone so political? Because they do. I mean, just perfect example, that Jason Aldean song that came out, try this in a small town. What a brilliant song. I mean, just going out there, he refused to be canceled. He refused to bow down to society's norms of, oh my gosh, you're offending us, and how dare you say that, and all these bullshit assumptions of, oh, it's bigotry and it's this and it's that, and a reference to something that happened 200 years ago or whatever. It's bullshit. But yet
it's the truth. Try and walk in one of them small towns and flash a gun at the guy and tell him to get out of the car, and then wonder why you got shot in the head by the guy's shotgun that's hanging in the window behind. Oh, what happened? Well, it's very close.
It's common sense.
The truth.
Yeah, right. It's truth. But the problem is that society is divided us so much, so that it's almost like a default knee-jerk reaction that, oh my gosh, well, what about this or what about that? Or I have to be careful. I have to filter what I say because I might offend this person, or I'm going to start an argument or whatever. You know what? Then you know what? Those people aren't worth talking to in the first place. If your friends are so offended by what you say, or
thin-skinned,
what you post on Facebook, then maybe they shouldn't be your Facebook friends in the first place. Or whatever. And so I really think that people need to start being genuinely yourself. And you know what? That's why I love the song Jason Aldean, because he was being true to himself. And he's like, you know what? I'm tired of this bullshit. I'm tired of one side screaming so loud and making everyone, drowning them out and not being able to speak their mind. And guess what? We're a free fucking country, and they've been trying to, abolish free speech and stuff. You know what? Over my dead body. That's bullshit.
And the funny thing, Markus, is I've said this forever.
Right.
The biggest complainers are the biggest offenders. Okay. Lady next door to me, old lady, crotchety, whatever.
Right.
I try to be nice because I hate negative energy around me. Okay. She always says, oh, your landscapers blew your leaves through the fence or some bullshit. And one day I finally came out and said, we clean this out. If some leaves got in your yard through the fence, I apologize. I'm not trying to be a bad neighbor, right? It kind of calmed her down because she's got a real bad attitude. I said, Happy Easter. And she goes, yeah, leaves are on my yard. I'm like, what the fuck? Anyway, so yesterday I'm in my pool.
Right.
And she doesn't know I'm there. And she takes a bunch of shit from her yard, leans over and throws it in the backyard, right?
No way.
I'm like, I swear to God, we got cameras. She's doing it all the time. I don't call her out on it because I don't like negative energy. Even though I'm very aggressive, I don't want to start problems. She throws it over, and I said, "How you doing?" She goes, "Oh, hi," and then she says something and goes in the house. Okay,
right.
It's not up to me to tell her, "Listen, you're an asshole. You're blaming me for shit that I don't do. Yet you're the asshole that's doing this shit."
Right.
It's not up to me to call her out. She knows that I saw her.
She called herself out.
She's ashamed.
Yeah.
And she's ashamed because she knows that she's always bitching at me. So the bottom line is the biggest complainers are the biggest offenders out there. So if they're complaining, tell them, right here, pal. Right. And you know what? You don't even have to tell them. Just say, basically, I see what you're doing. How you doing? Right. Be better than that person. Because the problem in today's society is, you might be up here feeling great, great positive attitude, and you got this asshole, right?
Right.
And so they're an asshole to you. And what we commonly do is we bring ourselves down to their level and we go at them. Now we're at their level. Well, if we despise those people, you know what? We got to stay above those people. We got to stay better than those people. Okay. I'm old school, played hockey. You want to start that? I'm not going to get into the mouth confrontation. It goes straight to knuckles. That's cool. All right. Yeah. That's how the sport's played. I love that part of it because you can let out aggression where you can't do that in the everyday world, Right. And so, but it's about being yourself, but you got to stay above these people. The problem in today's society is people will allow the people way down here to pull them down. Okay.
Right. Yep.
And if you stay up here, believe it or not only do they not pull you down, you actually bring that person up because this person that's like the woman next door, she's actually ashamed. So you actually brought her level up rather than you going down and going, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Right.
Yep. And now I'm down where she is.
Yeah, no, I totally hear you on that. And it's, sometimes actions speak louder than words, and luck. It was good. It was good. I don't think it's a coincidence. Nothing happens by coincidence. There's a reason why she chose, to go out there and do that at the same time you were there, because enough's enough. She needed to be called out on it. And the universe provided the circumstances for her to call herself out. I love it.
And guess what? I sat in the pool all day. I didn't have to look at her old mean, face while I'm in the pool. You know what I mean? Exactly. She went inside because she's embarrassed,
Right. And you know what, though? She'll probably never do it again.
Maybe.
No? Or she's definitely going to think twice. She's going to definitely think twice about that. That's for sure. That's funny. But I think, there's a lot of it. It's being your true self, doesn't mean that, you're going to, you want to lambaste everybody. I do believe that there is something to be said for being diplomacy, having some good diplomacy and having, a decent way about communicating to people. However, don't change it. Just don't totally flip flop based on what's going on in the world.
Don't be a little soy boy and I think the same way and you don't, because that's bullshit. Right. And so one thing that I think that a lot of people do is if you come up with an alternative idea, rather than them allowing your perspective to open up doors, open up windows to, hey, maybe I could think at a little bit different level or think about this a little bit differently to potentially make my life better. They look at it as an invalidation because it's not what they think. So they get like one of the topics that I want to talk about today, education. Okay. Now, a lot of people that think, oh, I'm respected and I'm educated and all this crap, and I got this good job and my kids are going to have this good job. That's fine. Okay.
Right.
But when I come up and if I say, listen, I don't agree. Most of the kids that are educated can't read, they can't write. They're brought up to be political views in a certain direction.
Yep.
And so in lieu of listening to why I think that, okay, automatically they feel as though they're being invalidated, even though I don't necessarily know what they think. So then it's like an attack on me.
Right.
And those types of people I choose not to be around, because if somebody has an alternative thought to mine, I'm going to say, tell me why do you think that? You know what I mean?
Right.
Okay, we can talk about this. Maybe you can inspire some thought for me. And so, this whole podcast is designed to help people think a little bit differently, help people, but to open up doors, open them up and say, hey, you know what? I just thought about something a little bit differently, because the a-hole that I listened to, this Don Handston guy, said something that I didn't agree with, but all of a sudden I'm looking at it through a different lens and I'm saying, wow, you know what? I kind of agree with that, because this is what's going on in my work and my family and my business and my personal life. And all of a sudden it opens up a door, and now they're capable of making a better decision, and their life becomes a little bit better. Guess what? That makes my life better. The whole reason for this podcast, and I said it in our first one, is to help our listeners. Okay.
Exactly.
It's not just so I can come out here and babble. Okay, that's fine. I know I got a motor mouth and I can talk forever and I got ideas about everything. But it's if I can inspire, I can help some people think a little bit differently. Okay. And they can become a little bit more happy. I look at it as paying it forward, right? If I can help 1 or 2 or 10 of our listeners to be a little bit happier, right? Then I look at it as paying forward, because what's going to happen is they're going to share that with other people that they know or that they have influence over, and they can make them happy. And I'm hoping it's like the VO5 commercial. You tell 2 friends and they tell 2 friends and so on and so on. It's kind of like that.
Yep.
And that's the power of the internet. And that's why I like this, because being part of these groups, what do you got? You got between 10 and 100 people in the group.
Right.
And most of them are like, he invalidated me, I'm mad at him. And that kind of bullshit. There's only 100 people. We get some viewership on this thing. The thing is maybe it can spread. Maybe it can spread. And if it can spread and we can make a better world, that's what we're all about.
Absolutely. I mean, that's my whole mission is how do I make the world a better place? How do I make a difference in people's lives? I've been doing some different trainings with a group of individuals, and it's so great when you're sitting there, you share an idea that maybe they hadn't thought about, or you approach things in a different way, and you see the light bulb go on. That is very fulfilling for me personally, because I know that, hey, whatever they go and do with that, it's I left them better than off than they were before we got started in the first place.
It kind of goes with when I talk about environment. We need to control our environment in order to be happy, right? We got to stay around positive people. We got to be around people that are constantly seeking for improvement. We got to, and it's fun to have some of these destructive habits. Let's go out and let's drink some booze and ride some motorcycles, get in a fight, get laid, all this stuff. Yeah, that's all fun. It's all destructive behavior. At the end of the day, don't get me wrong, I like to have a good time. I did a lot of that shit for years. It's fine. And it was a great time. But a lot of those people that I have relationships through that know me as that guy, they don't necessarily want to be around the guy that I am today. Because the guy I am today is I want to, on a daily basis, I want to continue to improve myself and my environment. And even with like work, like, all right, how many years am I going to stay in the same business? I made plenty of money. Everything's fine. But the thing is what is your purpose? Don, what's your purpose in life? Okay, what is it? To go out and, get into fisticuffs and bang and get crazy, Yeah, that's fun. But what's really your purpose here in life? And my purpose in life, and exactly what you said, what's fulfilling to me is to help other people. And a lot of people don't view it like that. A lot of people are like, he's a blowhard. He's got a lot to say. He's kind of aggressive. But really, I'm the kind of guy, I'll give you the shirt off my back. I am not here for me. but but in the same breath, I am here for me, because
Right.
me and my purpose is to help others. And so if I can help others even just a little bit, and those people can help people just a little bit, and by improving, when I talk about improving your environment, right? So you want to be, let's just say you're around people who are drinking and are doing party drugs and all this shit.
Right.
Well, as we know, as we get older, all those people go downhill. Well, if
It
you
takes
go
a toll on your
now,
health and everything else.
right, all of a sudden
Yep.
you're like, I want to make my body a little bit better. Now all of a sudden you get involved with natural doctors. You get in, you make friends with these people.
Right.
People you work out with, people you play sports with, people that are trying to improve their mental, spiritual abilities, whatever you're looking for. And you start surrounding yourself with those types of people. What happens is your life gets better. As your life gets better, you help make their lives better, and as your environment improves, that's how you improve yourself. And
Yep.
you can help people kind of understand, like being more aware where there's toxicity in their life. It could be family, friends, lovers, it could be anyone. And there's toxicity. And if you, a lot of people get mad at you. They'll be like, oh, you're against this person. But if you can help them identify the toxicity in their environment,
Right.
and they can handle it or get rid of it, like, they'll be indebted to you for the rest of their life. They'll be like, he's helped me so much, right? And, a lot of times they won't even say he helped me, because when you inspire thought, it's them helping themselves. You just inspired the thought.
I had this conversation with a very close friend of mine. You know this individual, and he just broke up. He broke up with his girlfriend. His girlfriend broke up with him, and he's been struggling. And so I sat down with him last night. We talked. This happened a couple of weeks ago, and I said, do you want the candy coated answer, or do you want me to be real? He's like, well, I want you to be real.
Some smoke up your ass.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing that. So I just told him how it is, and you know what? He took those ideas. He talked to another good friend of ours that we know, and bounced some ideas, and he got a lot of the same feedback that I had shared with him. And guess what? He went and had a great conversation with the lady. Whether it resolves or not, he got to be peaceful because he got to be his authentic self. He spoke his truth. He was able to communicate the things that were going on in his head. Got her to open up. And regardless of whether they reconcile or they go their separate ways, he's good because he took some ideas, a different perspective, embraced it, made it his own, went out there and started that communication, started being his true authentic self. And we talked this morning, and he's like, I feel great. I feel like I'm cloud nine because I was able to say what I needed to say. And there's a lot to be said for that.
Yeah. So in everyone's problems, there's like with the relationship, doesn't matter, personal, business, doesn't matter. There's only two ways to resolve a relationship. Okay. It's either handle it, right?
Right.
By being transparent. Okay. Or it's disconnect. Those are your only options, handle or disconnect. Because the people that say I can live with the problem, it's kind of like the mental health problems that are out here right now.
Yeah.
Okay. When you go to psychiatrist, whatever, psychologist, all these people want to do is, oh, these are your problems. Let's talk about them. Okay. We're going to give you a prescription drug, or we're going to give you the key ways so you can live with those problems. Okay. Now, there's a lot of alternative ways how you can expel and get rid of those problems, in which we don't talk about. Okay. And once you can get rid of those problems that are haunting you between your two ears, then all of a sudden you feel good. People don't think this is possible, but the standard in medical right now is live with the problem. Okay. It's kind of like you got some internal problems with internal medicine. They'll give you medicine so you can feel better as you still have the problem, rather than let's get to the root of that problem. Let's get rid of the problem.
Yep.
And then you're going to be good to go. Instead, let's give you something so you can deal with the pain, or, this might, help your blood pressure. But then they don't tell you, well, yeah, it'll help your blood pressure, but now you're going to have brain aneurysms and all this other bullshit. So it's all convoluted. And what we all have to realize is that the only people that are working for us is us. Okay.
Right.
That's it. The medical system, the educational system, all of these systems that we think are designed to help us are not designed to help us. Okay. They're
Correct.
designed to hurt us. They're designed to so they can, people want to make money off of us. Okay. They don't want you to be self-sufficient. They don't want you to understand that you take care of your body or your mind. They don't want you to understand that. They don't want you to get rid of your problems. They don't want to get you to get rid of cancer. They don't want you to get rid of any problem that they say is permanent. Like,
Right.
I played sports for a lot of years, right? Arthritis. They make it seem like it's a permanent thing. Okay.
Right. Yep.
All that is inflammation due to loss of cartilage, right? Okay. That's all it is. If people knew that, then they understand, well, how do I rejuvenate the cartilage? But they don't want you to know that. They want you to get a knee replacement, a hip replacement, fuse your spine, all this medical shit that's going to create more problems. Okay.
Yeah.
And so people need to understand that there's different ways of thinking about all this stuff. And one of the topics, again, I'm going to mention, I'd like to talk about is education, because you're a college educated guy.
Right.
Right. And I'm not. Okay. So it's going to, I have a feeling that we're probably going to have similar views, even though you're an educated guy in college and I'm not. Okay. So you care to talk about that?
Well, absolutely. I mean, education, I really believe that, Jim Rohn said something years ago. I'm a big believer in personal growth and again, bettering myself. And he said, formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune. And I truly believe that. And so, yes, did I go to school and did I learn computers and did I get more of a technical education? I did, without a doubt. Went in business classes. I got a business minor, all of those things. And I think those did help me. But I think that the social aspect of being there and being on my own and being in a fraternity and, all the different dynamics that come with that, I think is what makes us a well-rounded individual. Now, education is much different than it is today, because it's all about, it feels like these kids are being indoctrinated into thinking in a certain way instead of providing open thinking. And, I had give you a perfect example. I can give you actually two examples, actually. When before my daughter was born, before I even had a kid, I was turned on to this educational system called the Waldorf education. It was the largest educational movement in the world, independent movement. And it really taught about critical thinking and how to think, not just what to think. And I said, my God, I would love to have been brought up in a school like that, and I made it my mission. Like, if I ever have a kid, that's what I want to do. And now fast forward a little bit, my wife was a preschool teacher. So she came from an educational background and we butted heads a little bit because the Waldorf education was very different, and in from not looking at it from a different perspective, you kind of get, this is the way it's got to be. And that's not necessarily the case. And, once I shared what I thought some of the benefits were and those things, and guess what? We finally were able to come to terms with it. And my daughter went through a Waldorf education through 8th grade, and I think is a better person for it. So I really do believe that, you do have to think for yourself and you have to choose where you want to educate yourself. My cousin, who was grew up like my sister, we went to school. She went to Northern Illinois University like what I did. She was like a year or 2 years behind me, and she was studying psychology. So she interviewed me for one of her papers, and it was about education. And even at that point, I said, I was kind of poo-pooing the traditional educational process because it was all of the things that I did, all the seminars that I was doing outside of that, all the different things, Kirk Carlson's Leadership Academy and all the books, what color's your parachute and how to think and grow rich and all those different things that I was introduced to during my college experience that to me made my life better. I learned more from those things than I ever did from the actual traditional education. So that's my 2 cents on that.
I mean, I could talk about this for an hour or two, but I'll try and put it into perspective a little quicker than that. Okay. I went to private school for grade school, for high school. I tried a little bit of college. Wasn't for me. I liked making money. I liked thinking for myself, problem solving, everything else. Went into business at 18 and a half years old. Okay. Now, my thoughts on this whole thing was, and this is back then, okay? Okay, the standard guy that went for university back then, okay,
Right.
paid around 50 grand a year, and a lot of them didn't have the money, so they got 200 grand in debt. Now I'm out there working. Not only am I creating a skill, okay, and started up a business,
Right.
but after that 2 years, let's just hypothetically say I made 50 grand a year, okay.
Right.
They come out of school, they really don't have any skills other than they've placed themselves as an employee, a cog in the system, right? You're a taxpayer. You're going to pay tax um, before expenses. Okay,
Right.
that's a W-2 employee. You're going to work for corporate America. Or you're going to do what you're told. And nowadays, right, you got to go get vaccines, and you got to do this, and you got to do that. Otherwise, you're out.
Right.
Okay. Now, when they got out of school, they owed approximately $200,000. I'm making up the hypothetical, and I had $200,000. Okay,
Right.
so it's a $400,000 difference. Plus, I already got 4 years established in business. Okay,
Right.
now I had a skill, was making money. I didn't waste 4 years of my life. I'm not saying that education is a waste. Okay, but I didn't. I actually spent it on what it would take to run a business. Now that's the first part of it. The second part is like you said, they don't teach accountability. Okay,
Right.
Most of these kids that are going through school now, a lot of them can't read, a lot of them can't write. They don't do cursive. They don't know how to do math because they've given them some crazy ways to figure out math. So they're
Right.
really they're not
The new math. Yeah.
yeah, the new math. So you spend all this time, all this money, and we got all these kids, okay, that have zero skills with no accountability, with political views
Huge debt.
that make them want to sit on the couch and collect a check for not working.
Right.
And for what reason, right? So I had kids, and my kids originally were not with me for
Right.
the first 16 years of their lives. But had they been, okay, my buddy's wife owns a school, and they
Right.
teach entrepreneurship, right?
Nice.
Now, I understand entrepreneurship's not for everyone, but the key to entrepreneurship is you can decide when you want to work, how often you want to work, how much money
Right.
you want to work, like how hard you want to work. You make all those decisions. Who works for you, who you work for. You make all the decisions. Where when you go to college and you're a cog in the system and you get work for corporate America, you got to work for the people we want you to work for. You got to
Right.
work with the people that we want you to work for. You're going to make the kind of money that we're going to pay you. You can only take the days off that we want you to take off. You got to work 30 years before you retire. Guess what? I want to live my life for 30 years. Who knows if I'm even going to live that long, right?
Right. Right.
And all these people are like, oh yeah, when I retire, I'm going to travel. And then they retire and they're dead, or they retire and they can't walk, or they have no interest in fucking leaving the house. Well, what did they do with their whole life? Made money, even if the guy made a lot of money, even if he made $1 million a year, and if you think that's a lot, whatever, I don't know. Even if he made good money and he lived in a cool house or a cool car, whatever, didn't live his life. Okay, now
Right.
the guy's sick, he wants to travel, he can't fucking travel because the motherfucker is in poor condition, right? Didn't have time to eat right, didn't have time to go to the health club, didn't have time to go out and get laid and get into fights and bang chicks and enjoy his whatever it takes, travel. They did not have time for that because they went to high school, they went to college, they got a job, and then they worked for 30 years. And
they're a cog in the wheel.
McDonald's.
Yeah, they're a cog in the wheel. They just,
and they make
they're
no
being
decision.
told what to do, how to do it, and without any kind of critical thinking. Hey,
people
why am
are
I
going to
doing
hate.
this?
People are going to hate this perspective because a lot of people have followed that route. So I apologize. I'm not trying to invalidate you. These are just my thoughts. So I love entrepreneurship. So had I been able to turn the tables backwards, I would have put my kids in this school that teaches them how to think, how to problem solve, how to create skills, how to be an entrepreneur. Write down exactly what it is that they want in life, and that's how they teach them. So it's really interesting.
It is very interesting. Even my daughter who just graduated college, I mean, she wanted that experience, and I encouraged it. But she started her own side business, in photography, and she's been making money while going to school, and it's been great. Now who knows where that's going to lead it to her. So, it's all about planting those seeds of of what you want in life, where you want to go, and then going out there and making it happen. So this has been a great conversation, Don. I really appreciate it.
I love it. And I have a lot more to share on this, but we don't have time for all of my nonsense. So you kind of got the gist.
Yeah, we want to put this out in sound bites. We don't want it to be a 2-hour episode.
You got it.
But we'll have a lot more to talk about. So we appreciate the conversation as always. I always enjoy our conversations. They always go down different paths, and you never know what we're going to uncover, but we're definitely going to uncover some good shit. So, hey, thanks everybody for being on the podcast today. We appreciate it. And tune in, subscribe to our podcast. Find us. We also have it across a lot of channels. And until next time, see you on the next episode of Straight Up No Bullshit.
Thank you for tuning in to the Straight Up No Bullshit, the Don Handston Show. We hope we enlightened you and expanded your perspectives with our bold and honest discussions about what might be holding you back from being your genuine self. And with a simple click to subscribe, we'll invite you back to the next episode. If you want to know more, go to straightupnobullshit.com. We'll see you next time.